The architecture industry is evolving rapidly, and staying ahead really requires continuous learning, being very open minded, adapting to innovation, and refining your business strategies. Welcome to the Architect My Business podcast. I'm Shlachter, your host, founder, and CEO of MGS Global Group. We provide architectural drafting and rendering services for busy firm owners and designers. Recently, we added new services such as bookkeeping and digital marketing. I put aside my dream of being an architect and pivoted to serve architects. Since then, I've never looked back. MGS Global started as a part-time gig when I was a new mom drafting for architects in New York City. Now we serve small to large firms and publicly traded companies in retail and hospitality. The best part, I get to help architects maintain a better work-life balance so they can do more of what matters most. From starting out solo to now leading a team of over 45 and growing, I've learned a thing or two about making a business thrive. Whether you're thinking of starting, already managing, or want to take your business to the next level, this podcast is for you. Each episode is packed with simple, actionable tips in leadership, people, marketing processes, and of course, profit. I keep things real. Like you, I've got no time for fluff. This podcast is brought to you by MGS Global Group. Now, let's get into this episode. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Architect My Business podcast. I'm your host, Shlachter, founder and CEO of MGS Global Group. We are your construction documentation partner serving the AEC industry. So I took a little bit of a pause doing the Architect My Business podcast because I had been working on AI for Architects podcast. And the AI for Architects podcast, we review AI tools for the architecture tools. So, my goal was really to help accelerate AI literacy for all. But I realized that all I was doing was, reviewing the tools, which is really important. But I also wanted to make sure that we were also addressing the business of architecture in the AI era. So now I'm kind of reactivating and kind of hitting reset to the Architect My Business podcast. The last 3 months of 2024 was dedicated to reviewing AI tools, and we've been really very consistent with reviewing these tools. We have reviewed over 50 architecture AI tools that we're sharing before on a weekly basis, but now I'm switching. So every 2 weeks, we do AI for architects tool reviews. And now every 2 weeks, we do the Architect My Business podcast so that there's a bit of a balance for the business owners in the group or in my audience. So one of the things that I'm trying to do in the Architect My Business podcast is really talk about, apart from all the business related stuff like business development, marketing, lead generation, hiring strategies. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about running a business in the AI era, touching on all of the points that I just mentioned, like hiring, marketing, business development, lead generation, finance, and how, we can integrate AI or how AI could play a role in the business side of things. So today in this podcast, I will be addressing two issues or two topics. First is the business of architecture. What are the challenges that architects face with AI and possible solutions? And second, which is really a very important topic, I think right now, are hiring challenges in today's landscape. So again, the business of architecture in the AI era is the first topic, and the second is hiring challenges. But before we talk about these two things on the podcast, I just wanted to give you an update on what I've been up to. I live in Cleveland, Ohio. It's kind of really chilly here. I'm attending a retreat in Ohio Pile that's in Pennsylvania. Requires me to do a 6-hour snowshoeing uphill hike. So that's what I've been doing. I've been training for that as well as, doing the usual things that I do, running the business, taking care of the kids. So I've dedicated time on training for this snowshoeing adventure. And also, we are preparing for PodFest Asia. I'm part of the PodFest community, and we're going to be bringing PodFest to Asia. And that's what's keeping me occupied as well, planning, the event. It's an international conference that, I've become part of and I'm very passionate about because I am a podcaster. Actually, I have 4 podcasts, but 2 are active right now. Also, I am a member of the Entrepreneur Organization. The Entrepreneur Organization is a global group of entrepreneurs where we really help each other through experience sharing, community events. So today I actually was working at my co-working space or the EO headquarters in downtown Cleveland. And this morning there was a business growth talk They do business growth breakfast, I think, once a month. And I went to my first business growth breakfast today. It was hosted by EO, but I think it was the Morgan. I forget the name of the sponsors, but they interviewed four entrepreneurs in the scale up phase. When I say scale up, they're 3 million and above, that they shared their challenges and successes and really their growth story. And I really love hearing from, small firm entrepreneurs and how they navigate their business challenges in the really, really fast paced world. And I was so happy to see a female architect in the bunch, because it's really hard to find architects that are really doing the thing and really have expanded their business to over 10 million. And it was really refreshing to see an architect in the space together with other businesses, tech businesses, marketing and advertising, and a female architect who was there on the panel. She's a Cleveland architect. Her firms is doing really amazing work all over the country, actually, not just in Cleveland. But it was really nice to hear about their challenges. Actually, one common challenge that all four entrepreneurs faced was the hiring and talent retention. So what they mentioned was it was really hard. In the beginning, scaling a business is difficult because it's hard to find business. But then they've planted the seeds and they've been in business forever, that finding clients and finding a pipeline is not anymore an issue. What the issue is that they face right now is hiring. But what are, like hiring challenges, recruitment, and also people leaving the workforce. So it's really perfect because today, we're going to be talking about the business of architecture in the age of AI and hiring, and how we can solve the hiring problems, that we are facing in the industry today. So the first topic I'm going to be talking about is running an architecture business in the AI industry, and what are the biggest challenges that firms are facing in terms of AI adoption. I'll name the top three. The first one is the skills gap and workforce adaptation. The second is high cost of digital transformation. And the third is change management. So for the first one, the skills gap and workforce adaptation, there is a growing need for professionals who are proficient in both traditional practices in architecture and as well as learning to adapt to all these modern technologies like AI and BIM. But many current workers really require additional training to keep up with these new industry standards, while the educational institutions struggle to update the curricula quickly enough, right? So one of the solutions that I see the small firms can do is having an upskilling and reskilling program, that offers continuous learning opportunities for employees through partnerships with tech providers, online courses. LinkedIn has a lot of free courses, Coursera, and internal training programs. We at MGS Global Group, we just launched MGS AI Labs, which is a research program, R&D really for the company, so that we know how to pivot with all these new AI tools and how these AI tools can help MGS Global Group. So sometimes for smaller firm owners, I know you may not have enough staff to do this kind of research, but maybe you can incentivize some of your employees who have extra time on the weekend to do some work and giving them some bonuses or things like that, right? Because it's really important that we upskill our employees and reskill them so that, we can compete and thrive in the AI market, AI era. The next is to collaborate with universities and training institutes, work with educational institutions to create industry-specific curricula like, AI tool. I think there are a handful of universities in the US that use AI now, but then I think there should be more people, or universities need to be very transparent about their AI curricula so that people can maybe do some summer programs or after work programs in their institutions for people who are willing to learn, because it's hard to find architects that are doing this in-house because people are extremely busy. Another possibility is to create cross-disciplinary teams, like create hybrid teams with both traditional architecture and also tech-savvy professionals to bridge the gap. So I know in in different companies, you have people who are really tech-savvy and know all the shortcuts for all these tools, but some people do like hand sketching. So maybe for firm owners, allocate some time for people to share their resources, because I'm sure some of your team members are already experimenting with AI that you don't know about yet. And like I said, right, leverage the AI tools for training, use AI powered platforms so that people can learn. For instance, there are different YouTube channels. These content creators are really providing a lot of the top 10 AI tools to use and what it's used for, what use cases for each tool. So We do that in our podcast as well, AI for Architects, where we review different tools and we can determine which tools, what type of use cases they are best used for. Like, are they for residential, commercial? Are they for site development planning, floor planning, ideation, rendering? So we get all our information from YouTube, from articles. So I think for firms to be able to solve the skills gap and workforce adaptation, you don't have to do this massive, huge program. You can start with 10 minutes a day on your lunch break, learning, looking at YouTube channels and the top 10 AI tools for architecture. That's how we learn. Again, small baby steps is better than no steps at all. The second challenge is the high cost of digital transformation and adaptation. Implementing advanced technologies like AI requires a substantial financial investment in software licenses, hardware upgrades, data management solutions. Additionally, there are significant expenses associated with training programs to ensure that the workforce can utilize these tools effectively. So, like what I'm talking about are these huge enterprise AI solutions. A lot of big companies, since they really want to protect their intellectual property, they create their own AI tools. I mean, again, most of the architecture firms are small to medium sized firms, and no, this is not even in the books to create your own AI tools for your company, proprietary software. So my suggestion would be to start small and scale strategically. So focus on implementing affordable, high impact tools such as, Maquette AI, LookX AI. There are a lot of tools you can use that are service as a software that are cloud based. So you can actually buy the software or use their licenses. I mean, a lot of the tools that I've reviewed have licenses of $40 to $100 a month. A lot of them are actually cheaper than your typical Autodesk and ArchiCAD yearly subscriptions. So why don't you check it out? For the small women business owners and SBAs, you can access grants and incentives. So you can look for government or industry grants that promote digital transformation in construction and architecture sectors. I know there are a lot of grants floating out there. Microsoft actually has a grant that will provide educators and universities with huge grants. Like my friend is just working on a grant worth 2 million for education and in AI. So I think there are grants available for people who want to start integrating AI into their work. Another one to address the high cost of these AI tools is, again, like I mentioned earlier, the cloud-based solutions, because it really reduces upfront costs. If you use all these cloud-based solutions, like the ones I mentioned, Maquette, Snaptrude, LookX AI, they actually have free trials. Most of the tools actually are free. However, if you want to add more power or more features, you need to pay more money for that. But again, the entry points are actually not that difficult and very reasonable. They allow for flexible pricing models and in most of the AI tools that I've seen. Another one is you could collaborate and share resources. Consider co-investing in technology with other firms, like if you want to do AI research on your own without using your firm's resources, partner up with, your coworkers and pitch in and say, hey, let's share this account and experiment with these AI tools. That's really, really very manageable. There are so many tools available out there. And if you get a pool of 10 coworkers and each of you will try out a free subscription for like 3 months or whatever and share resources, that's a really good way to, empower yourselves through sharing information without, spending so much time and money with learning these AI tools. The third challenge for the AEC industry really is change management. All this technological advancements, all the AI shifts in the industry really require organizations to adapt to manage these changes to stay competitive. For the architecture profession, it's hard enough to manage our own processes, and how much more to change to the entire new processes in AI, right? The thing is, little change is better than no change at all in terms of adapting. Like architects should not put this aside and not think about the effects of AI in the industry. We need to be a little bit aware, right? But I'm not saying we need to do change management completely and hire all these different consultants. No, but we need to start small. Effective change management is really critical for integrating all these technologies. And I think we need to really pay attention to what's going on in AI and how it could potentially affect our industry. So in terms of change management, what steps can you take, or what are the little things you can do to adapt? Number one, develop a change management strategy. I know this is another strategy session that the firm owner has to do, but a little bit of change strategy in terms of, let's say, a process for email strategy, right? Instead of a small change like using chat gpt or claude to help you with an email draft, that can already save time in terms of your work process. If you really come to think of it, if you're writing 100 emails a week at 20 minutes an email, imagine the change you can do if you're using chat gpt or an ai tool for your emails. That's saving a significant amount of time, right? Second, in change management, appoint change champions, meaning who are people in the firm that are already tech savvy, who are AI savvy. Ask them to help you create like some different changes and processes within the organization. You need to also be transparent in communicating with your team that you're adding all these, that you're changing things around the organization so people don't get nervous or scared. Be very transparent that you'll be using AI, to really help to be your coworker and really help you save time, especially like, for instance, in my case, emails or writing content or brainstorming ideas. So these, using like one tool can already help me shave hours in terms of my content creation and writing. Lastly, it's important to really have an open mindset when it comes to change management. Like I said, architects are just too busy to even think about change, right? We're too busy with our project delivery, like responding to RFPs or RFIs and all the things. We just ignore the fact that the world is moving so fast and we need to learn how to adapt faster than what we're doing right now. So I'll be talking a lot about, the business of architecture and some of the AI hacks and tools that could help run our businesses more efficiently and effectively. So the second topic I want to talk about is really hiring challenges in the architecture profession. And let me go over a bunch of statistics with you. In my case, right, in MGS Global, we work with different architects. We work with residential architects, hospitality, multifamily, people in healthcare. So we have a variety of projects, and luckily we have been able to diversify our project types so that we always stay busy throughout the year. So now 2025, we've been ramping up in terms of our work pipeline. And the reason why we've become so busy as a construction documentation partner is because a lot of the firms that we're working with don't have enough staff to do project delivery or construction documentation. So these are some of the facts I'm going to share with you. There are a lot of leadership heavy firms with limited project management and drafting support, which means there are a lot of leaders in organizations and higher level staff, but very little support like draftsmen to help them with production. The second, there are a lot of growing project opportunities. Like right now, we're seeing a lot of hospitality projects, a lot of like data centers and senior living for, the aging population. So we see a lot of that. However, the current industry data reveals that 88% of architectural positions receive fewer than 10% applicants here in the US. 10% of our experienced colleagues are approaching retirement, and new architecture graduates have decreased by 3% while industry demands grow. So how is your firm managing your construction documentation and workload among the staffing challenges, right? So this is a common problem that I hear constantly. And I have a few, suggestions and solutions that have worked for us in terms of our hiring strategy. And also, one of the things I've seen too many firms turning away exciting work due to staffing constraints. So every missed opportunity isn't just a loss in revenue, but it's a loss for, your practice to grow and to innovate. So again, you don't want to be turning clients down because you don't have enough staff, right? I think that there are some solutions, but it really, really requires like focus and intentionality when you're trying to hire your people. But I actually wrote about this in LinkedIn, and I will share with you 3 key insights that can really help you with hiring and staffing issues. So one of the reasons why I'm very passionate about, making sure that you have the staff to provide your pipeline, because I really firmly in my heart, I really want to see architects thrive, have a better work life balance, have profitable projects, have dream projects and clients, and really enjoy life and be secure about their financial future. I really would like the architects to take on new work, not burn out, and really build for sustainable growth that possibly create an asset base for your business so you can sell it to the next generation, right? And then a big part of that really has to do with staffing and employee retention. So here are my three strategies for that have worked for me in MGS Global Group. The first one is retention. Retention is your best investment. The second is modern hiring requires modern strategies. And the third is flexibility. And let me break that down for you. So, number one, retention is your best investment, right? Did you know that the hidden cost of replacing an architect or your team is up to 150% of their salary? Think about it. When people leave, when you fire and rehire, that's 100% of their salary. So, one of the ways that top firms are retaining talent is really through mentorship, flexibility, and clear growth paths. You have to share your core values, mission, and vision. I actually learned that today from the four entrepreneurs that were at the EO space this morning. They said that the best way for them to retain talent is really sharing their core values, mission, and vision with the group so that they're all aligned. So again, we need to make sure that we retain our best employees through mentorship and clear growth paths. Also, another way of retaining talent is promoting internally. No need to find people outside of the organization. If you can build promotions within your organization, that's actually a better path forward, and it's cheaper too. Plus, people in the organization can see that there is, a future in your company when you actually promote from within, right? It really strengthens the culture when you do internal promotions. The second is really modern hiring, right? What do you mean by modern hiring? In my opinion, potential employees also have to screen the employer. So it's a two-way street. Just because I'm hiring doesn't mean that they are at my beck and call. No, the potential candidates are also vetting their potential employees. So traditional job postings are not enough anymore. Top talent seeks firms with compelling cultures and really cool projects. So my question for you firm owners is, what is your hiring strategy, right? What does your Instagram look like? What does your YouTube page look like or your LinkedIn page? Are you only promoting your cool projects or are you also showing the culture of your company? Because when you share the culture of your company, your potential employees will also see that. So you also need to market not only to your potential clients, but also to your potential employees. So that's what I mean by hiring is a two-way street. Like this is like a modern hiring strategy. You need to have a content strategy to get clients. You also have to get a content strategy to get employees. Our firm in MGS Global, we have a mix of our content. Like we show our office space and all, the fun things we do at work, our break time, or like goofy things at the office, because this is what the potential employees want to see. Like, what is the work life? What is your life inside the work? What is your culture? So I think architects should really think about creating or starting a recruitment strategy in their social media and in their content creation. You'll be surprised that you'll be attracting more talent and more resumes into your pipeline. Also, investment in employer branding pays dividends. What does that mean? Like I myself, I'm the personal brand for MGS Global, and I really spend a lot of time creating content and putting myself out there, speaking at events, networking with people, and then sharing that in social media so that people know that I, as the leader of the firm, or the company go to all these events, go to marketing AI conferences, go to the AIA conferences. It's important for future employees to see who the leader is. So I personally spend a lot of time in marketing and outreach and talking to people and going to events. And that's actually my primary job now in terms of my role as the business owner and the CEO of the company. Lastly, flexibility is really important. We need to build flexibility in the future, right? So, the first thing in terms of flexibility is you need to be open to building networks of trusted partners or consultants, right? let's say you have a huge amount of work, but you don't have staff. Why don't you be flexible and open minded to maybe work with your competitors or tap other architecture firms that can help you with construction documentation? For instance, if you have a project in hospitality, but you see a residential architect, they're not busy, let's say, why don't you try talking to that firm and maybe collaborating in construction documentation, so that they're busy and you're busy, but you're not having to hire new employees, right? My biggest competitor in the Philippines, they're also in the architecture space. When they have overflow work, they give it to our company. So, we're not really competing, but we're really helping the profession as a whole. So I think you need to be flexible in terms of, how you staff up, or how you add and reduce staff in your organization or your company. Second is, you scale teams based on project demands. So what does that mean? You don't necessarily have to hire full-time employees. You can meet or talk to third party or outsourcing partners like MGS Global. There's a lot of companies in Latin America. If you want the same time zone, near shore, that's what they're called, the near shore teams. We're in the Philippines right now, so we're an outsourcing company in the Philippines, but we now have a nearshore team in Colombia, and we have people in India as well. So, you need to scale teams based on your project demand. You don't necessarily have to hire and fire people when you have a big project, because that's not also good for your long-term employees and your current employees, that they're not disposable assets, right? These are human beings with families to support. So I think having a network of trusted partners and potential outsourcing partners are really important for building your team and really providing you with the staff that you need for your project delivery. And also, if you're still very skeptical about hiring an outsourced partner, it's really important to establish clear processes for external collaboration and implement effective project management tools. So, in our case, we work with hundreds of architects. We actually have a communication protocol: who's copied on the email, who shouldn't be copied on the email. What are the steps in terms of creating a seamless working environment between two companies and two time zones? And also, one of the most important things that I think every architect should have is a digital headquarters or project management tools that really can help you with, collaborating with different vendors. So we have our own client portal. MGS has their own client portal that will manage the collaboration and communications with all parties involved. So anywhere in the world, anytime, when I'm on vacation, when I'm on the airport in a different time zone, I know what's going on constantly every day of the year. And if a client calls me, I know exactly what's going on. So again, it is possible to work with outsourcing partners if you have, established really good processes and communication protocols and effective project management tools. So that's a wrap. Thank you so much for joining me on the Architect My Business podcast. Today, we tackled two significant topics: the business challenges in the AI era and staffing issues that firms are facing as we're approaching 2025. So the architecture industry is evolving rapidly, and staying ahead really requires continuous learning, being very open-minded, adapting to innovation, and refining your business strategies. So if there's one thing to take away, it's that number one, retention is really your best investment. Mentorship, flexibility, and clear growth paths can help your firm keep talent while building a strong culture. Modern hiring requires modern strategies. Hiring is a two-way street. Traditional job postings won't cut it anymore. Your employer brand and culture are really critical to attracting the best in the field. And don't forget flexibility in the future, for flexibility in hiring teams. Build a network of trusted partners and scale your team based on project demand, and invest in project management tools so you can manage your workloads effectively. Lastly, make sure that your team is aligned with your core values, mission, and vision. This alignment builds a stronger foundation and serves as a powerful retention strategy. Lastly, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What are your biggest challenges your firm is facing today in terms of AI adoption, running the business in the age of AI, or just regular business challenges? I would love to hear from you. Also, if you have any solutions or if you want to share insights on how you have successfully created an employee pipeline and what are your hiring strategies, I'm always happy to hear from you. So feel free to send me an email, Aya at MGS Global Group, or connect with me on LinkedIn, Aya Shlachter, or Instagram, Aya Shlachter. I'm very active on socials. I check all my messages. So feel free to reach out to me if you want to connect. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and share this episode with your network. Again, thanks so much for listening to the Architect My Business podcast. Till next time. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Architect My Business podcast. If you want more, head over to architectmybusiness.com for more episodes, show notes, and links to everything mentioned in this episode. Don't forget to catch our mini shows, Her Space, Ask Aya, and our main show, Architect My Business. If you enjoyed our episodes and want to hear more, please leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Your feedback really helps us grow. Stay tuned for the next episode. Bye!